So first off, I'm a massive fan of Glitch. I've been watching their series since the early days of Murder Drones and have kept up with their work all the way until their second most recent pilot for the Gaslight District. And having seen so much of their recent work and being so into it, I had some fears for how Knights of Guinevere would turn out. After seeing the trailer and pre-interview for the show, the hyper-capitalist dystopia of the world really caught me by surprise. The melding of old Arthurian-inspired mythology and a new age corporate sheen of marketability provided such a stark contrast to the cyberpunk hellscape that seemed to exist alongside it. Despite how much I like Glitch and their sensibilities over the years, I was a bit worried that Knights of Guinevere would share some of the trends of their previous works. Glitch has a very signature style for their shows. Their projects, despite having very interesting ideas and well thought out worlds and settings, often go about telling stories with a certain degree of irreverence. Their tones always ride a very fine line between goofy and dark or serious. The contrast of emotions works very well for the stories that Glitch wants to tell, and I think their balance of styles was at its peak in The Amazing Digital Circus. The nonsensical style of humor was deeply set in the show's world and characters in a way where it felt like the show couldn't exist without it. The irreverence added to the overall feeling of insecurity and fear, showing the insanity that existed within the tragic circumstances of the plot. However, with a show like Knights of Guinevere, I was really hoping that this tone would not persist. While I think a certain level of self-awareness and irreverence can add character to shows like Murder Drones and The Amazing Digital Circus, the trailer of Knights of Guinevere really sold it to me on a different level. I truly had the sense that this was a world I could so easily get immersed into, and I was worried that because of Glitch's past influences, the show would have taken itself less seriously than it should have. However, thankfully it seems as though the writers are aware of the differences that this show should have from its predecessors, and have geared the script to work perfectly with the style of story the creators want to tell. Despite being fairly fast-paced, the first episode of the show does everything it can to bring you into the world of Knights of Guinevere. There are bits of world-building scattered everywhere, in the throwaway lines of random characters and small details that you can only pick up on the second watch. The show is driven to push its plot and story forward while still affording the time to make this world feel real and lived in and awful. The show is still really funny and well-written, but it's never poking fun at itself or the world it inhabits. The setting is serious, the plot is serious, there can be moments of brevity and fun, but this world is a terrible and fascinating place that the show refuses to let be taken lightly. Despite this being a Glitch production, it really feels like the creators were allowed to let the show flourish in whatever environment they chose, which is something that I'm really thankful for.